Huddle up! Welcome to the Halas Huddle, your go-to place for all things Chicago Bears. As always, I'm Rob Schwartz with Bear Goggles On. Today we've got a real treat for you guys. We have an exclusive interview with one of the most underrated offensive linemen in this year's NFL Draft, Amari Kight out of UCF. The Bears met with Kight during the pre-draft process at the Hoola Bowl, and after hearing his passion for the game, his commitment to mastering his craft, and his desire to win, it's easy to see why he is a name that Bears fans should have on their radar. His footwork is sharp. His athleticism allows him to get to the second level in the running game. And if you are hyped about RJ Harvey as a running back prospect, then you owe it to yourself to check out the guy clearing the path. I'll admit I was not in on Kight to begin with. When I was given the chance to interview him, I did go back and watch more UCF tape. And one of my favorite plays came up against a TD against Arizona. It was a touchdown run that put UCF up 14-0. It was a 17-yard run that probably wouldn't have, well, to be honest, Harvey would not have scored if it wasn't for Kight getting to that second level and taking out that linebacker. So again, if you are in on RJ Harvey, then you should definitely be in on Amari Kight. On top of that, Kight brings strong character, a coachable mindset, and an all-in attitude on every snap. Also, a huge shout out and thank you to his agent, Daniel D-Flo Flores of Grady Sports Agency for helping me make this interview happen. And before we jump in, just remind everyone to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and then also show some love for Amari in the comments, right? Whether it's a simple bear down or a huddle up, let him know that the Bears community is watching. Before we get into the interview, I also want to just mention the draft is less than a week away. We have a few more videos coming out, some more draft content over the next few days. So make sure to come back and check that out. All right, let's get into it. All right. Amari, you started your college career at Alabama, one of the premier programs in the country. What did you learn from your time there, even as a backup, that helped shape you as a player?
For me, just being able to kind of watch some of the guys that were ahead of me. So just getting the privilege of watching guys like Alex Leatherwood and Landon Dickerson and Jedrick Wills, Evan Neal. So just being able to see those guys play and see areas of their game that I can incorporate into my own, and also just be able to see little things that they might not always do perfect, and just be able to, just kind of take those things that they also were struggling with and kind of talk through those issues with them, and just all around become a better player just because of it. And just being able to be around those guys and all that talent was something that was really helpful for my development.
That's awesome. Yeah, we're familiar with Alex Leatherwood. We had him for a season here in Chicago. So
Mhm.
unfortunately, he was dealing with mono at the
Yeah.
time. So, all right. After several seasons in Tuscaloosa, you made the decision to transfer to UCF. What drove that move, and how did you embrace stepping into the starting role there?
um for me, I was just looking for opportunity to play. um that's all I really wanted to do, was just get on the field and play some ball. And I came to UCF just my prior connections with Coach Malzahn and Coach Hand, because they were people that recruited me out of high school and I had a close connection with then. So them being in the Big 12 was also something that interests me, and that kind of led to me coming to UCF.
That's awesome. I think, scouts and teams are going to have to get used to seeing guys, have more than one school now with how the transfer
Yeah,
portal and everything is. It's not the same as it used to be even just
yeah,
five,
most
6 years
definitely.
ago.
Yeah.
Um, well, you embraced it because in your first season at UCF, you logged 370 pass blocking snaps without giving up a single sack. You allowed only one quarterback hit over that time, and then you followed that up in 2024 with being the most reliable pass blocker on the team. What do you credit that level of consistency and protection to?
For me, just it's a tribute to my teammates. It's the guys I went out there and practiced against every single day, and just my coaching, just being able to really key in on pass protection and that being something that we worked on a lot. And, for me, I've kind of always been a guy who had really good feet. And I've just always been able to get in a good position when it comes to pass protection. So that's kind of what I credit it to.
Yeah, I think a lot of, just regular fans out there kind of don't really understand how important footwork is when it comes to
Mhm.
being an offensive lineman. Was there a specific moment during your 2023 or 2024 seasons, or maybe even earlier, that you felt like everything just clicked and you knew you could play at an NFL level?
For me, it happened a little earlier. Just, I think it was probably my freshman year of college, just going through fall camp and kind of just going through that. And Leatherwood was kind of somebody who took me under his wing and kind of put a lot of confidence into me and what it was that I was doing. And, for me, just I kind of always felt like I had the talent to get there. I just needed, that little extra push. And he kind of gave that to me and gave me that confidence that I could, you know, make it to the NFL.
That's awesome. Well, we're only a little bit over a week. Well, no, a little bit less than a week away. So
Yeah,
it's got to be an exciting time for you.
yeah.
Um, One of the things that you did uh, playing at UCF is you earned a spot at the Hoola Bowl where you became the team captain.
Mm.
What was that experience like for you, and what did you take away from competing there?
It was really fun, honestly. It was at UCF. Had a lot of my teammates there. Just being able to practice there and be around them one more time was something I really enjoyed, and also just being able to make a lot of relationships that week. As far as being coached by Mike Tice, being around a lot of other great players, it was just an all around great experience and something that I'll always remember.
That's awesome. And there's been some buzz about the fact that you had a meeting with the Chicago Bears. I'm assuming it was possibly during that time. Can you confirm if that meeting happened and what that conversation was like?
Yeah, it was something. I did have a meeting with the Bears. It was something that went really well. Just being able to kind of tell them about me, and kind of get on the board a little bit, and just get to hear what they had to say about me as a player. So yes, that meeting did happen.
Awesome, awesome. Hopefully, we'll hear your name called in the next week or so, and
Mhm.
Chicago Bears fans will get to know you even better. Um, what kind of feedback have you received from NFL teams during your pre-draft process? Has there been any consistent message about your strengths or areas that you need to improve?
For me, scouts really like my athleticism. Just that I showed that on film that I have really good feet, that I'm able to get into the right positions, and I'm able to hold up in pass protection and be a really solid blocker overall. They like my versatility that I've played pretty much four positions my entire college career, and that's something that really stands out to them.
Um, so you kind of touched on it a little bit, but for teams like the Bears who are looking to protect a young quarterback like Caleb Williams, how would you sell yourself as someone who can step in and contribute to that mission? And then I'll add just a little bit here because they went out this offseason and they got basically redid their whole interior. They got a new starting left guard, center, and right guard. Um, they have a right tackle who's been here in place in Darnell Wright that's going to be here for a couple more years. Left tackle's open with Braxton Jones kind of coming off of an injury. But yet there's also, he's in his last year of his contract. So, like, where can you see yourself kind of just filling in and fitting in on that team?
For me, I feel like I could fit in anywhere. Just I've been a guy who's learned from the people that are in front of him, but I've also stepped into that starting role throughout my college career. So I feel like whatever a team needs out of me, I'm more than capable of being able to do and do at a high level.
Yeah, that's awesome. We touched on it a little bit, but being a backup at Alabama and then a starter at UCF, to me, it shows a lot of patience and perseverance that you've gone through. How's that shaped your mindset as you transition into the NFL?
It helped my preparation just don't get too down on yourself just because something doesn't happen right away doesn't mean it won't happen, and just make the most out of your opportunity when you get it.
So, can you give us just a little bit of like maybe your weekly preparation? What's your process watching film, studying opponents, sharpening your technique?
Mhm. So if we have a game on Saturday, just depending on if we are flying or if it's just a home game, I might watch the game on the plane, depending on where we're at. Come in Saturday, we'll watch the game again and have any corrections from that game. Monday, we'll come in, watch a pass rush cut up of the team that we're playing this week. So just being able to see what the opponent wants to get, what they want to get out of their rush, what their moves are, what their get off looks like, what their counter moves, just any weaknesses in their game. Just being able to see that Monday morning. Tuesday, we'll get on the field and do first down, PN10s, those kind of things, run game. Also, just looking at where we can capitalize on them in the run game and where their weaknesses are with that, how their linebackers play, how they fit, just things like that. Wednesday, we'll see third down, see where their pressures are coming from. If there's anything in the secondary, they can tell us where they are coming from. If there's any keys that the D linemen are giving, and just seeing their blitzes in practice. Thursday, we'll kind of fine tune all of that. And between Thursday and Saturday, I'm really just going through watching game film, watching the pass rush cut up again, and just really more so visualizing the game up until that point.
Awesome. Sounds like a lot of work. I think a lot of people, just regular fans out there who think they can just go suit up and be out on the field. They need to understand how much work and time you guys put into not even just being on the field, but your mind and how much film you guys watch. It's crazy.
Mm.
Um, you mentioned Alex Leatherwood. You mentioned a couple other guys that you had, were playing behind in Alabama. But like, what are maybe some NFL tackles that you might study or model your game after? Maybe take after a little bit of their play style.
For me, I watch a lot of Lane Johnson, Penei Sewell, Trent Williams, and also just being able to play with him while he was at UCF. I've watched Tylen Grable play. I've watched Jedrick Wills with the Cleveland Browns. Just all those guys to kind of take something from their game and try to apply it to myself.
Awesome. Um, when you think about potentially joining a team like the Chicago Bears, they have a physical identity and we have a very, very passionate fan base.
Mm.
Do you feel like that's a good fit for your personality and your type of game?
I definitely feel like it's something that I've been around, just being around UCF, being around Alabama. They're very passionate fans. So for me, I don't really think it's something that would be out of the ordinary for me. And I kind of embrace it just because you have fans that you know are going to back you up. They're going to love on you. And, those are people that you want to go play for.
Awesome. Yeah, they maybe not quite with the Philadelphia Eagles, but our fan base is pretty passionate. Um, how comfortable are you? You actually kind of mentioned this a little bit already, but I had already pre-planned the question. But how comfortable are you playing on the right side if needed, or even kicking inside if that team sees you early on? And I don't think I've ever noted it, and I didn't touch on it earlier, but have you ever taken any snaps at center?
I've never taken any snaps at center other than like maybe like pee wee football. But
Sure.
other than that, I have no problem playing any position on the O line. I've really versatile. I feel like I can really play any position if asked to at a high level because I've done it pretty much my whole entire college career. So it's not anything I have a problem with.
Nice. What do you think is the most underrated part of your game that maybe hasn't got enough attention during this like draft cycle?
I feel like a underrated component of my game that a lot of people don't really look at is more so my just my hands and my physicality and also just the more mental aspect of the game. Just I like to keep a level head throughout the game and just not get too high, get too low, and just play like the mind game. Just being able to more so punish a guy and be able to take his will throughout the game to the point where they don't want to play in the fourth quarter. I feel like that's an underrated
Yeah,
part of my game.
you would fit in very well here in Chicago. Speaking of that, so finally, wrap this up. If you were drafted by the Bears or any team, or what's the first thing that they're going to get from Amari Kight, and both on the field and in the locker room?
On the field, someone who's going to come to work every day, someone who's going to have that attention to detail, someone who's going to be coachable, who's going to want to learn, someone who's not, too big on themselves that they can't take, coaching from anybody else or any pointers. Just a guy who's going to do what it takes to win. In the locker room, just someone that their teammates are going to enjoy being around, someone who can help pick up the mood and, just someone who's going to help push their teammates every single day.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how any team would not want to, like that answer. I really appreciate your time. I really hope, everything goes well for you next week. I look forward to following your career, whether it's here in Chicago, whether it's somewhere else. You I had not paid enough attention. I do my own film study. I had not paid enough
Mm,
attention to your game prior to knowing that this interview was happening. So I went back and I watched a lot of your film, and it's exciting. So I do think that any team that lands you is going to have a great football player on their team, and that, to me, that's the most important thing is just getting a football player, someone that just wants to be out there. And I can tell from your answers like that's something you just want to do. Um, just for fun, is there anything you like to do off the field that, hobbies, sport, like video games? What else you like to do? Just we'll wrap it up with that.
yeah, I'm laid back. I like to play video games. I like to fish,
Okay.
watch movies. I'm a little nerdy. I like Marvel movies. I like building Legos. Like I like playing brain games on my phone. Like I just kind of relax. I don't really do too much. So that's kind of what I do off the field.
Well, that's nothing wrong with that. So I'm pretty much the same way. I love the Marvel movies. So I still have not seen the new Captain America yet. I'm kind of disappointed
Really,
about that. Is it
I've seen
good?
it. Yeah, I've seen it twice.
Nice. Yeah, I
Yeah,
want to see it pretty bad. I just saw a report that Denzel Washington is rumored to be in the new Black Panther movie.
really.
And if
Okay.
that's true, again, it was a rumor. If that's true, I'm going to be super stoked for that too. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, again, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it, and good luck next week.
Yes, sir.